Clint Eastwood speaks for the first time. To this day, no one can explain it. Clint Eastwood is not just a Hollywood actor, he's a living legend. For over 6 decades, he has amazed audiences with his strong, silent roles in westerns, thrillers, and dramatic films. From his breakout role in the TV series Rawhide to classics like Dirty Harry and The Good, the Bad and the Ugly, Clint built a career on playing characters who didn't say much but always made an impact. He's the kind of actor who commands attention without needing to shout. But in real life, Clint is just as mysterious as the roles he plays. He doesn't talk much about his private life, and he rarely opens up about his thoughts or emotions. That's why, when a recent documentary included a moment where he said, "To this day, no one can explain it," fans everywhere stopped and took notice. What did he mean by that? Was he talking about a strange moment from his past? Was it about his career or something more personal? Those 7 simple words opened the door to a world of mystery. Suddenly, people were searching for meaning, trying to figure out what exactly Clint Eastwood had experienced that even now, after all these years, could not be explained. It was a rare moment of honesty from someone who usually keeps things to himself. And in that moment, people saw more than just an actor, they saw a man with secrets, a story waiting to be told. Clint Eastwood's quiet nature is nothing new. He's always been someone who prefers to keep his emotions hidden. In many ways, that has added to his fame. While other celebrities post constantly on social media, Clint has stayed away from all that noise. He doesn't use Instagram to show off his life. He doesn't go on talk shows unless he has something important to say. For Clint, silence is power. And that's part of what makes him so interesting. Fans feel like they know his movie characters so well, but they can't quite figure out the man behind the camera. And that's just the way Clint seems to like it. His mystery has become part of his image. Over the years, people have tried to guess what he's really like when the cameras are off. Is he serious or funny? Is he kind or tough? The truth is, he's probably a bit of all those things. According to people who've worked with him, Clint is focused, respectful, and doesn't waste time. He's not loud, but he commands respect. That's a rare thing in Hollywood, where so many people feel the need to be loud to be noticed. Clint gets noticed just by walking into a room. So when he said, "To this day, no one can explain it," fans knew that moment had meaning. If Clint Eastwood chooses to speak, he must have a reason. The question everyone started asking was, what was Clint Eastwood talking about when he said those words? Many believe it could be related to a mysterious event in his past, a plane crash that nearly took his life when he was young. Back in 1951, Clint was drafted into the U.S. Army. At just 21 years old, he was riding in a military plane that had mechanical trouble and crashed into the ocean near San Francisco. Clint had to swim over a mile through cold water to reach shore. It was terrifying and dangerous, and some say it was a miracle that he survived. That event is rarely mentioned by Clint himself, but fans have connected it to his quiet strength and survival instinct. Could that near-death experience be what he meant when he said, "To this day, no one can explain it"? Maybe. Or maybe the mystery lies somewhere else, in the way his career took off despite breaking many Hollywood rules. Clint wasn't trained in a fancy acting school. He didn't come from a showbiz family. He just had a look, a presence, and something inside him that people couldn't ignore. His success isn't something that can be copied, and that's part of what makes it so hard to explain. Whatever he was referring to, one thing is clear, Clint Eastwood has lived through moments that most people wouldn't believe, and he carries those experiences quietly, without needing to brag. Clint's ability to keep his private life away from the spotlight is impressive, especially in today's world. He's had relationships, children, heartbreak, and success, but he's never made it part of a public show. While many celebrities invite cameras into their homes, Clint keeps his distance. Even as a director, he prefers to stay behind the scenes, letting the story take center stage. When he directs a film, he's known for being calm and efficient. He doesn't yell on set. He doesn't demand dozens of takes. He trusts his actors and gets things done quickly. That quiet confidence has earned him deep respect from people in the industry. Actors often say working with Clint is one of the best experiences of their careers. He doesn't waste time or energy on drama, he just tells powerful stories. And those stories often reflect his own life, tales of people facing challenges, fighting through pain, and searching for meaning. In movies like Gran Torino and $1 Million Baby, you can see a bit of Clint himself, the tough exterior hiding real emotion. Maybe his characters don't talk much, but they feel deeply. And that's the part of Clint that people connect with the most. He reminds us that you don't always need to speak loudly to be heard. The line, "To this day, no one can explain it," became more than just a quote, it became a riddle. Fans on social media began speculating, wondering if Clint was hinting at something deeper. Some said it was about the strange twists in his life. Others thought it had to do with how he built a career without fitting the usual Hollywood mold. A few even believed it could be about something spiritual, an unexplainable force that shaped his path. That's the power of mystery. When someone like Clint Eastwood says something vague but powerful, it opens the door to endless imagination. Some YouTubers created entire videos around the quote, playing dramatic music over old film clips, as if searching for hidden meaning in his every word. They slowed down his interviews, pointed to his body language, and built theories around what he might be hiding. But maybe the truth is simpler than all that. Maybe Clint wasn't trying to create a mystery at all. Maybe he was just being honest, saying that some things in life really don't have answers. Not everything needs to be explained. Some events, some feelings, some experiences are just too strange or too personal to describe. And for a man like Clint Eastwood, who has lived through more than most, maybe that's the best answer we'll ever get. The interesting thing is how people react to someone who chooses to stay silent. In today's culture, silence often makes people uncomfortable. We expect everyone to be open, to share everything, and to explain themselves. But Clint Eastwood doesn't follow those rules. He's not trying to build a brand or go viral. He's just being himself. And that makes him stand out even more. In a world full of noise, his quiet strength is rare. When someone doesn't constantly share their thoughts, it creates space for mystery, and that mystery pulls people in. It's human nature to want answers, especially when we can't understand someone. But Clint isn't giving us those answers. And maybe that's part of his message. Maybe he's showing us that it's okay not to have everything figured out. It's okay to live with questions. It's okay to keep parts of your life just for yourself. That idea is powerful, especially now. Clint Eastwood doesn't need attention, and he doesn't ask for praise. He lets his work and his actions speak for themselves. And in doing so, he teaches us something valuable, that being true to yourself is more important than being understood by everyone. Clint Eastwood's long career is filled with unforgettable moments, both on screen and behind the scenes. He's won Oscars, directed dozens of films, and inspired generations of actors and filmmakers. But his biggest success might not be the awards or the box office numbers. It might be the fact that, even after all these years, people are still curious about him. That kind of lasting interest doesn't come from fame alone. It comes from something deeper. Clint has managed to stay true to himself in an industry that often tries to change people. He never let the spotlight control him. He never gave in to pressure. And because of that, he has kept a sense of mystery and dignity that most celebrities lose along the way. That one quote, "To this day, no one can explain it," sums up so much about his life. It reminds us that there's still something special about people who keep a little bit of themselves hidden. In a world where everyone is trying to be seen, Clint Eastwood reminds us of the value of being quiet, thoughtful, and strong. His life is proof that you don't have to explain everything to be understood. Sometimes, just living with truth and purpose is enough. As Clint Eastwood continues to age gracefully into his 90s, fans are still eager to hear his thoughts, see his work, and understand his legacy. But if there's one thing we've learned from watching him over the years, it's this: Clint isn't in a hurry to explain himself. He believes in doing the work, telling the story, and letting others decide what it means. That quiet confidence is what sets him apart. He doesn't need the spotlight to feel important, and he doesn't need applause to feel proud. He knows who he is, And that's something no one can take away. Whether he was referring to a moment from his past, a strange experience, or the path his life took, the meaning behind, to this day, no one can explain it, will always be part of Clint Eastwood's mystery. And maybe that's the beauty of it. Some people aren't meant to be fully understood. They are meant to be remembered, respected, and appreciated for who they are. Clint Eastwood is one of those people. And no matter what he was trying to say, his silence says more than words ever could.